Okay, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the basic from scratch Sandbox tool to create, like it says, a new terrain or new organic shape from scratch. I'm in a brand new file, and I'm actually going to just, for the sake of the theme of this week, I'm going to change the style here. So I'm going to my window styles, and I'm going to change it to the landscape architecture style. No reason other than to just kind of be on theme. Okay, so first thing I need to do is just start with my create a sandbox from scratch tool. So I'm going to click on that with my select tool, my left cursor, my left click. And this is a three click gesture. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my origin, but you'll notice the other thing that it gives me the option of is my grid spacing. I'm going to keep it at 1 feet. I believe the default can sometimes be 5 feet. Not unlike the match photo tool, so you can change the grid spacing before you start just by typing in what you want the spacing to be. That'll make more sense in a moment. So I'm going to start at the origin, and I'm just going to click and start dragging along the red axis. And it might be hard to see, but you'll notice that there's these tiny little tick marks as I'm going, and there's also a length indicator in my measurement box that's letting me know how far out I'm going. So if I want to do 20 feet, it's just like a rectangle. I do 20 feet to start. Now, this is the second point, which is drawing along the opposite axis, and that's going to give me my final shape. And notice that it's giving me a grid as I draw. So when I actually click to finalize that shape, here's what I have. I've got a, kind of interestingly enough, I've got a pre-grouped shape. This is totally unlike anything we've done before, because every time we start a new shape, it always comes in completely raw, and we have to group it before we can do anything. This is pre-grouped. Take a look at this also. When I open it up and then triple click on it, you can see that there's actually these little dotted hidden lines. So it has broken every single grid point into a triangle, which will make this easier to start to edit. Okay. So what can I do with this now that I've got this from scratch sandbox plane drawn? If I open it up, the next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to use the smooth tool. Smooth is what allows me to start to create those peaks and valleys. So let me click on the smooth and bring this out. Notice what happens. As I'm moving this, and I haven't really edited the smooth tool at all, as I move it around, I can either click on the line, the face, or the hidden line that's dissecting these two shapes. And I've also got this circle that's surrounding me. So let's just test out what happens if I click somewhere on this face, on any of these lines. So I'm going to click once. Now you can see that after I've clicked, I've got in the center, I've got these heavier yellow dots, and they start to kind of fall off and become smaller and smaller. What this means is, as I start to move, and I'm not holding down on the left click, I'm just moving my mouse up and down, I'm actually starting to create this hill and valley, and you can see that the strongest point is in the center. So that's really creating the most intense pull-up, and then it starts to fall off along the edge. So if I pull this up and then click, that's my first little hill that I've made. Now I can keep moving around this, clicking as I want, and it's going to create these different peaks that I'm raising up. And you'll notice that right away I can start to make some kind of interesting organic looking topography. Now, I'm sticking with my 4-foot radius. So let's say I want to change that. Maybe I want to make the radius a lot bigger. All I have to do is type in 8 feet, enter instead, and automatically that radius enlarges. And now as I'm pulling up, I'm getting a much bigger area. Let's try 20 feet. 20 feet, enter. Now I've got a huge radius. So as I pull up, I'm actually pulling up the entire face of this thing. So again, it's click, and then raise up, and then click again, just like push-pull. Only this time there's nowhere to push-pull this away into. And then if I want to bring it back down, I can type 2 feet, enter, and bring it back down. So automatically, I can start to create some pretty interesting shapes with this. Okay, so I'm just clicking and just dragging and dropping. All right, so that is the beginning of how to work with a sandbox from scratch.